That's stupid. Rating video games by cost per hour. Now, a quick glance at Google will show you that I am by far not the first person to come up with this, in my eyes, obvious conclusion. But apparently there are people who actually use this metric to judge games by? Up until recently, the thought that anybody would do that didn't even cross my mind. Sure, I have heard about it in the context of how corporations pad video games with repetitive quests, grinding and unnecessary achievements to hunt in order to artificially increase the potential playtime with empty calories. Yeah, I can believe that Suits would have such a cynical focus on quantity over quality. Being able to promise 10,000 hours of playtime to justify a high-end price tag for a game makes sense from a marketing point of view. And I guess it seems to work. Even so, I have come exclusively across negative reviews of Starfield in my own internet bubble, how it is full of empty worlds, uninspired writing and menu screens.
So what you want to do is open this menu and go to the star map, which is this menu, and then go back, and then go back again, then go back again, and let's explore another planet. I'm going to hop over to this system over here, and let's just check this one out. So here we are. Now we want to go to this menu. Now this menu. Now let's just let it load.
Despite all of that, it is breaking sales records. But I would not have expected the consumers, the folks who pay money to be entertained, to use a similar logic. And yet, Lextorius pointed out the existence of this mindset in one of his videos not too long ago, and it blows my mind. I can understand the need that you want to get some bang for your buck. That's completely natural and justified. I myself, for example, can get really pissed if I am still hungry after a meal I paid good money for. And the same is true for games. There absolutely is a minimum quantity you should be able to expect from a commercial game and get righteously furious over a ripoff. Let's imagine a $60 video game with a total runtime of 1 hour and no noteworthy replay value. I doubt that it is humanly possible for a regular video game to provide such a life-changing experience that this would ever be an appropriate price. The example Lextorius mentioned in his video, which folks are apparently so pissed off about, is Cult of the Lamb. Because it can be beaten in as little as 14 hours and cost $20. That would leave it at $1.43 per hour, not counting for side content and replayability, mind you. 1.43 for an entire hour of interactive entertainment is too much? Have you been outside recently and tried to do anything fun that comes with an entry fee? Now, if the quality of the entertainment in question is shit, that would be a different story. But this is not the argument being made here, now is it? The argument is, game too short for price, that means bad. To which I have to ask, what is your fucking threshold for how much an hour of game is allowed to cost? I already agreed that there definitely should be one, but it should be far higher than 1.43. And it most certainly should take quality into account. Take for example Iron Lung, a game that looks like ass and where even a completionist can't squeeze much more than 1.5 hours out of. For the regular price of $5, this leaves us at 3.33 per hour. More than twice what Call of the Lamb asks for if you only play the main story. And yet, Iron Lung is critically acclaimed and praised for what it does in regards to atmosphere and experience, and I am looking forward to experiencing it myself at some point. But until then, you could justifiably accuse me of not actually living up to what I am preaching. So let me do you one better than a game costing 3.33 per hour I haven't played. This is Tricky Tower. The game costs $15. It was a total rage among my friends a while back, so I bought it and played it with them for a few rounds. It doesn't really have much variation, and racing each other in this wacky Tetris-like game is only interesting for so long. So we moved on relatively fast. This was over a year ago. I am not sure if I ever gonna touch this game again, and as of now I only have 2.6 hours on record, which means my personal price per hour is a hefty 5.69.
69? Nice.
For reference, my most played games are down to less than a dime per hour, and yet I consider those 5.69 totally worth it.
Very nice.
I had some fun with friends and experienced a creative use of Tetris mechanics. I certainly have spent more for less. Take on the other hand Swag and Sorcery, which managed to keep me going for 22.4 hours, which wiggled my personal price down to 57 cents per hour, and I haven't even finished the game yet. If we go by the price per hour metric alone, this game should be far superior to the likes of Coffee Talk, Carrion and Portal, which all have a higher price per hour, and that even after I've already completed each of them. And yet, I would recommend each of those three and many other games with an allegedly bad price per hour ratio wholeheartedly, while I consider my time and money spent on Swag and Sorcery wasted. The cheeky RPG parody and serviceable mechanics get quickly watered down by passive, grindy gameplay loops that I would expect from a free-to-pay mobile game and not a proper PC game I paid money for. Or as GeekWire put it is admittedly more a flashy distraction than a video game. If this is what you're looking for, by all means, use price per hour as your primary metric. However, in this case, I'm wondering why you are bothering with paying money for games in the first place. You can play Cookie Clicker for free, no in-app purchase BS, and getting all achievements will take you literal months, even if you do nothing else but play this game every waking hour. You cannot do better than that if all you want is to be digitally distracted for as little money as possible. And if this is your thing, more power to you. But please, don't leave negative critiques on actual video games because they didn't waste enough of your time. Which brings me to another aspect of this mindset that makes my brain hurt. You have to not value your own time. I work a full-time job and have only so many hours to spend each week on hobbies like video games, so I better feel good at the end of a gaming session. Obviously, good in this context can mean many different things from person to person and even for the same person from day to day. But even if I am just in the need for some idle gaming to decompress at the end of a long day, I would prefer the game with some love and care in it over the one that is just empty busy work. What I'm saying is, quality should never not be a factor in your evaluation of the value of a game. Because unless you literally wanna waste your time, every hour you invest in a game, or any entertainment for that matter, should be worth the time. Your time, even if you should be lucky enough to have plenty of it to spare, is a currency itself. After all, that's why we call it spending time. So when you think about the value of a video game, you should actually not look at the price per hour, but at the entertainment per hour. And keep in mind that entertainment can come in many different forms, especially when it comes to video games. From relaxation to excitement, to competition to brain teasers. In addition, there are also many titles that focus more on an experience, on telling a story that gets enhanced through the interactivity of games. Every single one of these games has a different purpose and is entertaining in its own right. And when it comes to the more unique experimental experiences that more often than not come out of indie studios, the price per hour is usually a bit higher, not at least because they are not full of endless grind and repetitive quests. So, after you have taken a look at what kind of entertainment a game has to offer, and you came to the conclusion that yes, that is what you want to do for however long the game lasts, or maybe even less in case you don't care much about completing games, Then you can take a look at the price per hour as a secondary criteria to double check if the offered entertainment per hour is worth the price. And I personally would say that 1.43 is a fantastic price for an hour of cute eldritch mayhem. Of course, entertainment per hour is highly subjective, basically impossible to actually quantify, and consequently requires a lot more effort to properly determine and express than a simple division of two numbers. So my guess is that some reviewers, as well as the folks listening to them, feel overwhelmed by this far more valuable but also more complex metric and rather focus on the utterly useless but very easy to comprehend one instead. And that's stupid.